Do you struggle with worrying about potential future outcomes? Do you just circle and circle about what am I going to do if this goes badly? Well, you're not alone. It's important to ask, why do our minds do that? And is it really the best strategy? In many ways, our psychology is geared towards survival, not happiness. If we think about how our psychology developed, it developed in a much more fight or flight oriented world. It was developed when we were in hunter-gatherer tribes, when we had immediate threats, either from other people or from animals or from the climate or from disease. With that in mind, emotions develop as signals in the body to get us to take some sort of action. They're a way for our system to communicate to us that something is off, some need is unmet, and we need to take action to meet that need. Worrying about future things comes up when we sense there's a threat and we start to seek solutions to make sure that threat does not come to fruition. And that's a good instinct. So worrying can be useful when we can identify the problem and we can brainstorm possible solutions. If this happens, then here's how I'm going to handle that. And if this happens, I'll handle it this way. If that helps us get clear about possibilities and choices, that's great. The problem is, theoretically, once we've mapped all those out, we should relax, right? We have our action plan. But do we? Most people I see, and I would say for myself too, no, we keep worrying. We keep going over those solutions. Is there another solution? We keep circling and circling and circling. Why do our minds do that? Well, the emotion developed in us to give us that signal so that we, make those maps and plans in our mind of how we're going to handle the potential threat. But it didn't have an off switch. There's not a survival-based reason to stop worrying. So we have to manufacture that. What I recommend to folks is listen to your worry. Let your worry tell you what the concern is, what the threat is. Map out in your mind all those possible paths that you can go down to try to mitigate the threat. And then from there, see if you can try to practice trusting that everything will be okay. And maybe just take a moment to notice what comes up in you just hearing that. I have some guesses from what I've heard from my clients and what comes up in myself sometimes, which is, but how can you just say that? How can you just say everything's going to be okay? Because then what if it's not? And it likely won't be. And then what? The threat is that then you'll kind of let your guard down, right? And then you won't be prepared for that threat. But here's the thing. Ask yourself this. If you think about past experiences where you're worrying about something and you were really worrying about it and then it did happen, do you feel like you were better off because you worried about it? I'm not talking about that planning and making sure you're prepared, but once that's done, just the circling kind of worrying, are you better off because you worried about it? And then maybe think about a time when you didn't see something coming, or maybe you had planned well enough out for certain circumstances happening, but you didn't really think they were going to happen, and so you didn't worry about it, and you were happy, and then this bad thing happened. Were you worse off because you didn't see it coming? Now, I will just tell you what most of my clients say when I bring this up. Most of them really think about it and say, you know what? No, I don't think I was better off because I worried. I think it was just as hard either way. In some ways, it was better when I wasn't worrying because at least I was enjoying my life for that time. And then I had to deal with the thing that was hard when it happened. But I had a little more resilience in me because I had a good time, in the build up before it. It's not about trusting blindly or being Pollyanna or pretending things are okay. It's about the truth that it doesn't actually help us to keep worrying once worry has served its function. It's not easy to practice trusting it's going to be okay. It's a practice for a reason. I have to constantly remind myself to practice. And then once I practice, I have to constantly repeat over and over, okay, but what if things really are going to be okay? Well, but what if they really are going to be okay? Well, but what if this happens? Okay, but what if they really are going to be okay? And I want to offer that as a practice to you. Once you've let your worry guide you in making a plan, see if you can practice saying the mantra, what if things really are going to be okay?